Welcome to Crosstalk Solutions. My name's Chris, and today we're taking a look at the UniFi Protect Smart Floodlight. This is a $99 accessory for UniFi Protect, and the model number is UP-FloodLight. Now, what this is an integrated motion sensor, light sensor, and floodlight that is meant to be used in conjunction with UniFi Protect. So basically your camera surveillance system. Where I'm gonna use it is like over on the side of my house where it's dark and I've got my trash cans. I'm gonna put one of these lights out on the side of the house, and then when I walk out there, it will light up that area. This can detect motion up to 5 meters or about 16 feet. The light is 550 lumens. It is powered by 802.3 AF PoE, and it has an IPX5 waterproof housing. An IPX5 is essentially defined as this device can resist a sustained low pressure stream of water. All right, so let's get it out of the box here. In this video, we are going to take a look at what comes inside the box. We're also going to set this up with UniFi Protect and then test it out by actually installing it on my house. Okay, here we go. So inside the box, we have a little sort of getting started guide. Here's the floodlight itself, and ooh, it's actually pretty hefty. This is an angle mount, so as you can see, if we're flat against the wall, this will sort of angle it down. Actually it's this way, isn't it? Yeah, it'll angle it down, so I think I will probably use this angle mount on the side of my house. Mostly though because I have siding, right? And the siding, you can't really use a flat mount because it would be actually tilted up a little bit due to the siding on the house. So using this angle mount, we'll just sort of get it down, pointed down a little bit, and I'm planning on mounting it about 10 or 12 feet up on the wall. Here's our little QR code for the Getting Started guide. Here is the flat wall mount instead of the angled wall mount, and then we have a screw kit included as well with some drywall anchors, and then the little security screw that likely connects this and locks it into whichever mount you choose to go with. Oh, look at this. Also, there is a diffused light cover here as well. So this looks like it slides off. Yes, it does. And then you can kind of put on this diffused one instead. I'll have to try out both of those and see which one I like better. Okay, so really not much to this device. Let's go ahead and get it adopted into UniFi. On my UNVR, I am running UniFi OS version 2.2.10 with UniFi Protect version 1.19.2. This is the latest stable release as of the recording of this video. Let's go ahead over into UniFi Protect. And the next thing we want to do is just plug the floodlight in with 802.3 AF PoE power. So the back of the floodlight, you can see right here, just has a single Ethernet port right there. So we're just going to go ahead and plug her in. Oh, I see a white light on top blinking, so I know it has power. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's definitely bright. All right, let's put this down over here. And I'm keeping an eye on the UniFi Protect dashboard because I expect that this will pop up in this dashboard momentarily. And if it doesn't, of course, we can just come over here and click on Devices. Now, I already have one floodlight right here, so this one doesn't look like it's popping in here automatically, or maybe I'm just being impatient. Okay, let's go ahead and click on Add Devices, and there we go. So we have a floodlight. I'm going to call this one Floodlight 2 since I already have one set up. We're going to say Add Devices. And it says Camera Pairing. You can view both devices together on the home page and access floodlight functionality while viewing that camera. Let's go ahead and pair it to my G4 Pro. And we're going to say Next. Motion detection area. Consider that the floodlight will detect motion in the area shown and trigger on for motion events when it's dark. So auto shut off timer for 15 seconds. That's basically how long do we want the floodlight to stay on after motion has stopped being detected. So I think 15 seconds is a good default. We'll say Next. And then we have our light schedule. Do we want it to come on during motion? Do we want it to come on just when it's dark, basically have that light always be on? Or do we want to just turn it on and off manually? In our case, we're going to say on motion, and we'll just say when dark. We don't need it to trigger light when it is light outside. So we're going to say Next, and one new device has been added. Okay, there we go. Now it says connected 100 megabit and it says lights off. So let's click on the light and we should be able to toggle it on and off right here. On and off, there we go. You can also set the brightness between low. This is not going to come across on film, but let me crank it all the way up. Now you see a little bit of difference on film, but not too much. I'm going to put it right about there. We can see which camera we're paired to. We can see the model and firmware. If we click on settings, we have the same sort of, on motion or when dark settings that we can set, as well as the auto shut off timer, and then all of the rest of the standard UniFi stuff. And the next thing that we want to do is actually get this thing installed and test it out in production, so to speak. All right, so that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so installation was pretty straightforward. You can see the light right up here above my head, and it is connected to this other camera that is right over here. And so when the light or the camera detects motion detection, it turns the light on, and then when motion has stopped for 15 seconds, that's when the light goes off. So obviously during the daytime it doesn't make much difference, but we will now wait until night and test it out to see how it looks. Okay, so there we have it, a look at the smart floodlight for UniFi Protect. As you can see from the nighttime footage, it actually illuminates quite well. In fact, the area where I have it is actually a little bit small, honestly, for the capabilities of the floodlight. So from the wall behind me where the floodlight is installed over to the fence on the opposite side is about 21 feet, or about 6.5 meters. And it easily lit up that whole space. I would say that the effective range of the light itself, obviously depending on how high you're hanging it and any obstructions and all that sort of stuff, is probably about double where I have mine installed. As far as price goes, I mean, obviously you would always want to see something have a lower price, but at 99 bucks, I think it's a pretty useful add-on for UniFi Protect, especially for around your home or small business where you would want this floodlight to be turning on when motion events are detected. And another thing that I didn't realize when I first set it up is that when you pair the floodlight with a camera, it turns on or illuminates
when the floodlight detects motion with its motion sensor or when motion is detected on the associated camera. So case in point, when I first put it up, that camera kind of looks over my fence a little bit and it triggers motion when cars drive by on the street. And I was noticing that anytime a car would drive by, the floodlight would turn on. So in order to help prevent that from happening, I don't need the floodlight, popping on all hours of the night as soon as a car drives by. I set a motion detection zone that excluded the cars. So basically it just ran from, sort of the top of my fence and below. So it'll catch anyone that's coming into the yard, but it's not going to illuminate just from cars driving by, 40 feet away that direction. The installation itself was super easy. I'd say that it's a little bit easier than installing one of their cameras. Adoption into UniFi is super simple. Putting it on the wall is really straightforward. Not a big deal whatsoever. I also like how it is designed so that when you put it on the wall, the PoE goes up, right? So any water from gravity that happens to get in behind this thing is going to drip down past your Ethernet connection, right? It should not get into that Ethernet connection whatsoever. Even if it's at an angle with the angle mount bracket, it should sort of miss the actual PoE connection into the device. But on the mount, it also seems like it sort of overlaps a little bit. I don't know if you can see there's a little lip here. So the mount actually overlaps with this a little bit. So really water shouldn't be getting in here at all. But if it does, it's really not such a big deal considering the way that they've sort of set up the PoE port. There's also a little channel down here at the bottom, which is good for running the cable up underneath, but this also functions, I guess, as a drain if water happened to get in there. It does have a place to go. It's not going to pool up inside the back of the device. One thing that I did not get a chance to test was this diffused cover for the light. I'm probably going to put it on mine. I just ran out of time to test it for this video. I imagine that when you put the diffused cover on the light, it probably reduces the effective range of the light, but given that the amount of light that comes off the thing is much more than I need for the area where I installed it, I think the diffused cover is going to make it a little bit better. It might not penetrate as far, but it doesn't need to in my case. So again, your mileage may vary on that. I will probably try out the diffused cover just to see if it makes any difference whatsoever. One thing that they don't do is they don't explain why or how you might need the diffused cover versus the clear cover. That's not really explained. I looked at the data sheet, I looked at the quick start guide. Nowhere does it say where or in what situation you should use one cover or the other. So I guess it's just up to experimentation. Alright, now we get to the point of the video where I am going to make recommendations for how Ubiquiti can improve this product through software. Ubiquiti, these recommendations are absolutely free. Okay, so the first thing is you have the option for the light to be on all the time or to come on during motion. It would be great if there was a third setting where the light could be very dimly lit, say, 20 or 25% power, and then when motion is detected, it goes to full brightness or whatever brightness you want to set for the quote-unquote full brightness. So basically have it as like a really dimly lit light, and then as you get close to it, it lights up a lot brighter. That would be an excellent feature. I have that on some little solar lights that I have hanging on my shed, and I absolutely love it because I can see the shed as I'm walking up to it, and then when I get close, it gets even brighter to illuminate, the area directly in front of the light. I also think that while I like that both the motion detector on the light and detected motion on the associated camera trigger the light, I think that it would be a good idea to have the associated camera motion detection optional. As I was explaining earlier, with the cars driving by, I was able to sort of block that section out from motion detection so that it wasn't detecting that motion and turning on the light all the time. But if I didn't have that option, if I didn't want to block out or obscure part of the camera's view, it would be good to have an option to say, okay, I want the light to come on and off only when the light detects motion, not when the associated camera detects motion. And I suppose you could just disassociate the camera from that light and that would solve that problem, but it would also be good to have that as sort of a toggleable option. Finally, and what I think would be the most important feature that could be implemented for this camera, when you are viewing the camera feed from the camera that's associated with the light, it would be great to have a shortcut button on that live view that would allow you to turn the light on and off. I checked this in both the app as well as the browser desktop graphical user interface. Neither of them had this option. So this is a G4 Bullet camera that I have this light associated with. When I view the G4 Bullet camera, I have the option of muting and unmuting. I can put it into full screen. There's a bunch of little icons that pop up on the upper right-hand side of the screen. Why can't we also have an icon for actually turning the light, the associated light, on and off when you're viewing the camera? So that way, if I'm looking at this area at night and I can see that the light is not on, I can just toggle the light on right there without having to exit the view of that camera, find the light that's associated with it, toggle it on, and then go back to that camera's live feed. It would be great if when a camera has an associated light, there's an extra icon that appears that allows you to just toggle that light on and off while you're live viewing that camera's feed. So there you have it. Let me know your feedback down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please click subscribe. My name's Chris with Crosstalk Solutions, and thank you so much for watching.